Hey everybody, KC here. So yesterday I told you about Fred Hansen, who worked for the Patriot Ledger in Massachusetts for more than 4 decades and who died at age 67 as he was about to cover a school board meeting. But as Paul Harvey used to say, here's the rest of the story. So when Fred Hansen started at the Patriot Ledger in 1981, this is how the Globe put it, American journalism was booming. The Quincy-based paper had a newsroom of more than 200 employees. Today, the Ledger's website shows 10 newsroom staffers besides Hansen. And the thing is, they're not really newsroom staffers, not in the traditional sense like we've seen in movies like All the President's Men or Spotlight. And it's because Gannett, which laughingly calls itself a newspaper chain, has eliminated most of its real estate spending. The Patriot Ledger doesn't even have a newsroom anymore. The thing is, when Gannett merged with a company, another so-called newspaper chain called Gatehouse, it created $1 billion in debt. So what happens? They get away from their core value proposition, making it virtually impossible for these companies and the people who work there to do their jobs. Listen, I worked for Gannett for a short time, a long time ago. This breaks my heart. But it doesn't really surprise me. And I'm going to be perfectly frank. I hear stories about mergers that create enormous debt that end up forcing companies to move away from their value proposition. And it colors all of my attitudes towards big mergers. Listen, I was talking to a guy the other day, and he's in the business publication business. And he told me how his job right now as a publisher is to sort of drag his publications into the digital era. I told him he was a little bit late. And then, listen, good luck to him. At one point he said to me that just turning on the lights in his company was seen as a technological achievement. But listen, I get it. Businesses, including newspapers, including magazines, have to adjust to new realities. There's no question about it. Listen, that's what I did, more than 2 years ago when I started Morning Newsbeat. I wanted to illuminate. I wanted to provoke. I wanted to have a distinctive voice. And I figured that this medium was the most effective way for me to do those things. And so far, I suppose, so good. But here's the lesson. You have to understand your core competencies. You have to understand your core value proposition. And then, yeah, sure, you have to adjust. You have to pivot. You have to tack. You have to use whatever word you want to use to figure out how to take advantage of tailwinds, to deal with headwinds, and sometimes deal with the fact that you have no wind at all. And in those cases, you have to row. But at the end of the day, the thing you have to do is you have to stay essential. You have to stay relevant. And you have to stay resonant, just like Fred Hansen. That's what's on my mind. And as always, I want to hear what's on your mind.